do that. So this is actually season 4, episode 1 of Office Hours Arbitrage, and I'm excited today to have _Kinesis with me. Has been active in Rocket Chat lately, and I was really impressed that the focus of your YouTube is to teach data science and machine learning and things like that. It's something I'm passionate about too. So I'm excited to have you on. But I did want to ask if the team wanted to say something about this phishing attempt, maybe while we have folks paying attention. Anybody want to say something about that?
There's a Substack phishing attack thing going on. We have a Twitter post with an official statement. But the gist of it is we don't use Substack, and we have a list of official communication channels. So if you see it, just report it to Substack.
That's really all that's needed to be said. Thank you very much, Liam. I noticed that this morning on Telegram, somebody was asking about a smart contract upgrade. And I was like, I haven't heard anything about this. And they showed that there was some kind of sign up, like a newsletter type thing. And I know for sure y'all don't do that. And so through the various communication channels, I've been trying to make sure people are aware that there's a phishing attempt going on. So thankfully, I think Patrick Short posted in Rocket Chat that so far no numeraire has been taken. So we have the best community in crypto already. And now we can say that we're the least susceptible to fraud. So congrats, everybody. So a little bit of business out of the way. Let's talk to our friend. So _Kinesis, where do you live in the world?
So thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it.
Very welcome.
I'm Professor John Taylor.
Someday, maybe. Yeah. Not professor yet.
Yeah, someday, very soon. So I live in Maryland, pretty close to Baltimore. And I actually used to live in Baltimore and go to school in DC. So I've been in the area for quite some time now, over a decade, actually. I've lived in Maryland. Yeah.
Awesome. So what do you do for a living?
So my training is, I was talking about my school. I went to Howard University in DC and studied civil structural engineering. Before that, I actually lived in UK. So just a little background. We can go back a couple more steps. I'm originally from Ghana. That's why I'm so interested in kind of helping the African youth, get into AI and data science, more specifically quantitative finance.
Love it.
So I have a small business where we do residential construction. Mostly we're kind of focusing on fire damage, reconstruction, water damage, tree damage type things. That's what I do for a living. I work with a team. I work with a contractor. I work with an architect and an estimator, and I do some of the design myself. But I'm trying to shift towards project management because it's like a whole bunch of stuff that goes into all these things that we work on. So yeah, that's pretty much my background. But I think engineering, structural engineering, kind of really runs parallel to data science, quantitative finance, because we do statistics, probability. So that's where the love comes in.
Oh, I completely agree. There's plenty of engineering folks involved in the Numerai tournament, and statistics is what binds all of us together.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you can run, but you can't hide from statistics. That's what I like to tell my students.
Yep.
I had my first course of the semester yesterday morning. And, you do the typical syllabus review, get to know you kind of stuff. And I said, just, quick raise of hands. Who's here studying business because they didn't want to study math? And I said, I'm very sorry to disappoint you, but now you're studying math, just a different application. Really, that's what college is, right? It's the very niche ways of applying math in the domain that you're studying.
Yes.
You can run, but you can't hide.
Cannot hide. Yes.
Might as well own it and run with it. And I think that's what you and I are trying to do in different ways, different but similar ways. So awesome. What compelled you to pursue your current job?
So, man, that's a that's a good question. So, wow, how far back do you want me to go?
Hey, this is your interview, my friend. You tell the story the way you want to tell it.
I am coming from a long background of, I would say, technical semi-engineer. My granddad was actually a surveyor. Okay.
Cool.
And my dad was an urban development planner. So he actually studied planning at a university. So his advice to me was, because I actually wanted to be an architect. And he's like, no, I think you should do civil engineering. I had no clue what that was at that time. So, because you can do both.
Right.
And then he just like, he threw me to the wolves, So, because I left Ghana when I was 19. I went to a little bit, I did high school in Ghana, and then I went to Cambridge, a city a little bit out of London, to do like a 1 year high school to transition into college. So, taking that knowledge, I got to do civil engineering. And thankfully enough, the university that I got to had civil structures. So that's what I got into. So that was my major. And then also came to DC and just continued like that. So yeah, that's how far back it goes.
So a kick in the butt from a family member to, hey, do this thing.
Yes.
And that's that. Well, hey, I'd say that's pretty compelling. If somebody's going to threaten you with the kick in the butt, that's a pretty good one.
Well, he was paying for it, so
Oh well, that has even more incentive behind it.
Exactly. So, but it was really a good advice. I that's one of the best advice I've received in my life or in my career.
I'm sorry, my cat is trying to get my attention. Sorry, buddy, you gotta stay away.
That's invited too.
Yeah, this being the work from home era, you have to accept the distractions and just kind of roll with it. So that's what we're doing.
Absolutely.
But surely you don't just work all the time, although it seems like most of my previous guests, in fact, that is exactly what they do. But what do you do for fun?
Oh man, a lot of things. I actually play soccer. So,
okay. All right. We have an athlete finally.
I am a soccer guy. My team is Arsenal and also Barcelona, but more on the Arsenal side because I lived in London.
Right.
And
that makes sense.
I actually started supporting Arsenal like in 1994. So yeah, that's my team. I play soccer. I hadn't played for quite a long time because of COVID, but this past weekend I actually went out and enjoyed myself with my teammates. So yeah.
Nice. Well, I'm glad you're able to get out. It's awful cold though. You said you're in Maryland, right?
Yeah, it was 28 degrees when we played, but you have to gear up.
I'm holding my thumb down.
Yeah, look at the
here.
Florida guys. Yes,
yeah,
I'm sure it was like 80 degrees that time.
I don't know. It's 67 degrees out right now, Fahrenheit.
That's nice. That's definitely.
I don't know. It's a little chilly. I'm out.
What?
I'm not a huge fan. I had to close the windows. It was getting a little too cool.
I
am still in shorts though, so if I really wanted to feel a little more comfortable, I probably should put some jeans on. I digress. What else do you do? It's not surely soccer and work.
Man, soccer. What else do I do?
You do this YouTube thing, right?
Yes.
Oh, there you go.
That's
go ahead and plug.
Well, let me plug. Shameless plug, but it's really focused on just helping the African youth. I don't want us to be left behind in this new Web 3.0. Most people are still thinking about Web 2. We're in Web 3.0. You have to really get in, crypto. You have to get in AI. I'm sure later down the line, we're going to be talking about Jim Simmons. Man, we have to get in there. I'm excited that I think I read an article where South Africa is training about 50,000 data scientists. And I was like, yes,
50.
That's one. Yeah, 50,000. Wow. That's what I saw. I'm like, yes, that's definitely good. Because the world is moving so fast that if we don't catch up, we're gonna be left way behind. And
Yeah.
even if we don't want to get into AI, we have to really understand, the applications that are coming out, with I mean, in terms of AI, so that we our thinking will be really transformed and not get into certain things that are not beneficial. So that's why I kind of like almost want to call myself a self-appointed AI Pan-African ambassador or something like
Hey,
that.
you are
Um,
then. Therefore, you are.
I'm trying. So
Until you
that's
come across the real person, you are. So I'll run
well,
with
I
it. I
don't
like
think
it.
there's any. So yes, I voted for myself, and it's
Perfect.
100% vote. So I
Love it.
take that.
I tell my students, look, you are studying business, but if you I have the grid view because this is like Zoom University. I'm honestly not a real big fan of the classroom that doesn't meet in person because I think there's something to be had for the network effect when you're in class in person. But I said, look at this grid of 50 of you. I said, all of you are gunning for basically the same job. I imagine a lot of you want to stay in South Florida. I understand. So do I. I said, but you need to differentiate yourself. So if you learn to code and you can understand how to do data analytics and data visualization, you're going to differentiate yourself. And there's a lot of free projects out there to help you along that path. And I said, Numerai is one of them. And so that's why I'm so passionate about, teaching people how to do this stuff in the classroom, because it's very rare that you get a clean data set to do machine learning on and then also get feedback. And it's in domain. So it's just a perfect confluence of things. And, yeah, so I agree. Don't get left behind and don't stick to just Microsoft Excel. That's not enough anymore. You can do anything you can do in Excel, you can do in a coding language. So I don't see why people are so stuck on that. But
no, you are right.
So you do the YouTube and you're trying to teach African youth to stay with the rest of the world in terms of learning and the different domain applications of machine learning and stuff. And you do soccer, but one of those two things sounds more like work, even though it's a passion of yours. So soccer and what kind of movies are you into?
Oh man. So
what TV show are you watching right now?
So I'm not a TV guy.
That's
I watch
fine.
a lot of news.
A news guy, okay.
Watch a lot of news, but well, now and then, if you catch me at the right time, I might be watching a martial art movie.
Which one?
Man, Jackie Chan is my guy.
Yeah, okay.
Because
movie, I got it.
Because he is growing up, you have Jackie Chan movie Project A and all that. That's what we used to watch back in Ghana. So man, you catch a lot of people my age will be into martial art movies.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I started watching Yellowstone.
Oh,
it's on
I saw something like that.
The Peacock app. So if you have Comcast, you get it.
Yeah.
Well, I recommend it. It seems pretty good. It's about this ranch in Montana. Anyway.
If Numerai will afford me the time, then maybe I will.
There it is.
I'm always trying to catch up with this data. So
I know, right? There's a lot going on lately. I'm sure we'll talk about it too.
Yeah.
All right. So you do some movies, soccer. So you're athletic.
Church. I do church also.
Amen,
online church now, actually.
Yeah, we'll get back to it. We will. We have to. So you are a unique person that isn't just a workaholic, although I sense a bit of workaholic in what you talk about. That's okay. You fit right in with everybody else.
I let the robots do the work. I just monitor.
Yes. So, okay, here's a fun question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how weird are you?
Oh man, the scale is so short. I was going to say 17, but
whoa, 10. Whoa, we have our first max score on the weirdness. Everybody else tries to say they're not weird.
I think I'm pretty weird.
You think you're weird? Why do you think you're weird?
I think I morph in terms of I can, you like we're in this interview setting that you see me bubbly, lively, and all that, but I'm very almost quiet person, always thinking type person.
Got it.
Oh yeah.
All right. So you think you're weird.
Yeah.
I'm not sold yet, but let's see. The interview's not over yet.
Oh yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But I think um we're in a good way because I'm able to morph into every situation, make friends quickly. One of my icebreakers is when I meet people, I like to say like one thing in your language, and just I would like kind of
People love
morph.
that stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah.
It's like I say that Floridians are chameleons because we can have a Southern accent on demand if we're around people that speak Southern. We can have a New York accent. We can be
Okay.
aggressive. We can be kind. And yeah, we tend to do exactly like you said. We just can fit in right away because we get so many new people coming to Florida all the time.
It's true.
Right. And
Yep.
but then when we go somewhere else, we stick out like a sore thumb because we don't know how to dress. Like you mentioned London. I went to London 2 summers ago.
Okay.
And I was on the tube and I had a pale pink polo shirt on. And all the Londoners were like,
Oh,
who
that's
is
my
this
guy.
freaking weirdo wearing anything other than black?
Yep, because exactly. Yep. Because you're gonna catch all the like 4 seasons in one day. So yeah, you better.
It's funny you say that. That's actually
No, that's true.
It's very true. I did. I was
It's
sweating.
gonna rain, it's
I was
gonna
freezing,
snow,
it
yeah.
rained. Yeah,
Oh,
I had
one
all-
day.
Yeah, and I went in June, so
Oh yeah.
it did. It happened that way. That's funny.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
here's another fun one. What are you not very good at?
Ooh. Not very good at. My daughters say I'm not very good at dad jokes.
How can you not be good at a dad joke? What?
I'm not exactly right. I'm not good at dad jokes, so you can imagine, but I think let me think here. There's in America you have to kind of take 2 paths. You have to be like really like a capitalist, but I don't think I have a balance of being maybe somewhat capitalist and somewhat altruistic.
Mhm.
And so that maybe more on the altruistic side. So I don't know if it's a good thing
Well, it
or
sounds
a
like a
bad
Christian
thing.
to me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what that is.
That's what I think it is. But you're not good at dad jokes.
Mm-mm.
So why don't you try a dad joke?
No.
Why not? Just keep it
Oh,
G,
man.
my man. Keep it
No,
G.
no,
This is
no.
I'm so bad at dad jokes, and I'm not even going to try to drop a dad joke.
Oh, I'll pass on that one.
That's okay. It was I thought I'd give it a shot.
Okay, go
I
ahead.
gave you a shot. Here's a fun question though. If you could have a billboard with anything on it, what would it say or what would it show and why?
Oh, okay. Well, like being a believer, being a Christian, your life is really. Thanks for that question. That's pretty good. That kind of gives me like a little plug.
Yes, sir.
Your life is supposed to shine, for others to see, and then all glory will go to God, Jesus Christ. So, if I had a billboard, it would definitely just say Jesus Christ, and then that's what I think it will say.
It's your billboard, my friend. So I love it.
Yes, my billboard. Exactly.
That's right. I love it. That's wonderful. So now we can talk about Numerai and some data science stuff.
Ooh, I gotta get my suit on.
Yeah, now we're back to business. Now this is the tough questions. Not really. When did you start participating in the tournament?
I started officially October 2018.
Okay, so you've been around a little while.
And that's when I
A
officially.
little over 2 years.
Yeah.
Awesome. How did you find out about Numerai?
So I actually heard Numerai, I would say in passing.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was like, because my background is engineering and structural engineering, I was looking for, and I know you touched a little bit on it, like your advice to your student. I was doing research on data visualization. Okay. And then some guy on YouTube was talking about data science. and it kind of like, hit the right note, because in engineering, anything engineering, you're taking a whole bunch of data and you're using it to design a size or a fit before you visualize it.
Right.
Whereas in data visualization, I just like, okay, you're just given the data and you have to visualize what happened before that. That's what I was trying to figure, because, being kind of curious, or a scientist trying to get to the bottom of things. What really happened? How did they come about this data to get it to a point where I have to visualize? So then I started digging a little bit deeper, and it was like, okay, yeah, data science. And in the past, I've experimented with the stock market, and I figured, all these tools on these platforms are not efficient. There has to be a way. There has to be a coding way to be able to, get this thing the right way, because there are too many human factors in trading.
Yes.
Will like
Welcome to
you
a
get burned.
PhD
You get
in
burned.
finance.
Like your money, your money will vanish like in a
It's
split
tuition.
second.
It's tuition. I tell my students, your first, trading account that you open and your first deposit is tuition, because you're probably going to lose most of it or all of it.
You got to
Especially all of it if you get into options, because it's just the way it works.
Oh, yes, I did. I tried options.
See.
Oh,
Or
man.
Forex. Forex is also a very quick way to burn a couple $1,000s.
Yeah.
But you probably learned a lot, and that was kind of my point.
I did.
And I also explain, and just for my audience, I explain that you lose the same amount of sleep if it's $10,000, $10 million, or $100 million, because you're still thinking about it the same amount.
Exactly.
The same emotional pull. And so you start to learn very quickly that this is definitely not for everybody. And
not for everybody. It's not the way to approach it.
But it sure is nice if you can do quantitative modeling on it, like with the Numerai tournament, and let them deal with all that lost sleep. Although lately, with the burn going on, I haven't been sleeping well. But that's for later. It's for later.
Yeah.
So you found out about Numerai through YouTube, and so you came over in October of 2018. But what do you wish you had known when you started out? Like, now that you've been around a while, what do you wish you knew then?
Oh man,
for people just joining.
And if I knew what I know now, man, that's a song. I mean, if I knew then, because if I knew then what I know now, or even before then, I would have had a double major in college.
Oh.
Civil, structural engineering, and quantitative finance, whatever leads to that.
But there's no shared prerequisite. So you would have had to take 8 classes a term to finish on.
That's fine. I would have been in there. I'm telling you, I would have been in there.
Boy. All right.
No, because I mean, man, that would have really, saved me a lot of time and a lot of money. Yeah, I would have been in there.
All right. So you wish that you had studied a bit of quantitative finance. But what if I told you it would only have biased you anyway, and that your engineering background might give you an advantage over somebody like me?
Well, but even with my engineering background, I had to take a machine learning course with MIT X online, just to make sure that there's certain things, there's certain theories, there's certain principles that you really need,
right,
to sharpen your tools to be able to be effective, especially if you want to make money on Numerai.
Yeah. All right, so a little more background knowledge prior to starting out maybe would have.
Oh yeah, absolutely, would have really helped a lot.
Steepened the learning curve a little bit, maybe. So that's interesting. You've been around since October 2018. What do you think is the #1 reason people quit the tournament?
Well, I'm sure there are many, but I think there's one that I faced myself, but then I had to overcome it. When I started out in Numerai, I have a few servers here. They were fine. They could, do the computation and, but then as the data grew,
right,
you have to go to the cloud. So if you don't transition to the cloud, then you don't have enough computing power at home to be able to, still participate in the tournament. Or maybe they have not, joined the community knowing that, maybe they can ask dumb questions. People call you out on it, but they'll still answer it anyway.
Well, as long as it's not in the documentation, we're a pretty friendly lot. But it's like right in the documentation, maybe the first paragraph, we're like, really, come on.
Yeah.
No, it is. The community is much better now than it was in October 2018.
Correct.
So yeah, I think people are much more willing to help, and that's been a wonderful change.
Correct.
And yeah, so maybe getting stuck and not having the right computing power, but there are ways to work around that. And so, but that's definitely a hindrance. I can see that. But now I'm curious, you've been around longer than I suspected. So that's interesting. What are your top 3 tips for people in the tournament? Like
people in the tournament? Or
what are your top 3 tips for people that participate in the tournament? Like,
oh man. Then that's a top 3 tips. Well, the data is very fluid. Tell you that, so
well, what does that mean? The data is very
meaning that how'd you call it? Just like, the data got changed from, something to know me, and then you're caught behind trying to figure out whether your thing that you're looking at in terms of the diagnosis are really what they are. But if your model is right, maybe you want to monitor over a month or something to see if,
So be patient.
Yeah, it's more about
To summarize what you're saying with it being fluid, it changes because it's the stock market, right? It's very difficult.
Exactly. It's very fluid.
Don't suffer from short-termism. Okay. So give me another one. What's your second tip?
Oh man. Now you put me on the spot. Tips. So I got 2 more to go, or just 1 more?
You got
2 more to go.
You can do it.
Yeah, you have to all the machine learning skills that you learn wherever you acquired them from. Make sure you're real. You're drawing on them, to really help you in your modeling.
Remember the foundations of the very basic stuff in machine learning, like do exploratory data analysis first. Try to avoid overfitting. Like, so the classic machine learning gotchas. Definitely follow it for this tournament, even though the data is clean. Right. I like that. So that's 2. I want 1 more.
And then the last one, which I'm borrowing from the man that, solved the market. Don't trust your model 100%.
Yep.
Don't do that, or you're gonna lose some money.
You're gonna get wrecked, son. Yep. So diversify, and I would say for the tournament at least, diversify meaning in different techniques.
Correct.
Different ways of approaching the data set so that you avoid that kind of a trap. Yeah. Ease into a stake. Don't go all in right away, because you just don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe don't go 2x MMC. I'm learning that lesson right now, but it's okay.
My major problem is scaling. Sometimes I just go fast,
Yeah, no. Sometimes that's called for. Sometimes, though, patience is also called for.
That's where the burn comes in. I
The
just got
burn
burned, like, seriously.
Yeah, hey man, don't worry. I'm doing horrendously. Like, everybody in my Twitch stream is beating me right now, and I'm happy for them. I am, because I was doing pretty well there for a while. But what goes up must come down. I think there's a bit of gravity.
I saw that in the chat. Like, what goes up must definitely come down.
It just happens. Mean reversion. So it's, hopefully it changes, but that's all right. So you've been involved a while now. How about, what's your number 1 feature request or improvement for the tournaments? What would you like to see change?
Well, it's a hard ask. I don't think it's going to get done. don't change the data.
Yes.
No.
Yes, please.
No.
Stability.
No. I mean, for Nomi, it was really good. Like when they announced that they were going to change the data, but don't change the data and throw in new errors. That was the new errors, I think, are what got me. But the data was fine because I was working with the data months before it really got changed officially.
Right.
So if you're going to change the data and you're going to change the error, just let us know, and then we can start experimenting, with it.
Right.
But then data is going to change to know me. Okay, I'm excited because I'm already working on it, and it changed officially, and they added new error. I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, the validation data, they added those, 6 new validation errors. Were hard.
That got me.
So the metrics tanked unless you adjusted for.
But my model really does not follow the diagnosis. So that, I totally forgot about that. So I was caught trying to figure out, what is this? But I think I got it now.
All right, except you're burning.
Well, I'm burning for just 1 month.
Well, hey, I am too. Look, I own it. Okay, yeah. I am burning horrendously, but I think
I'm gonna burn for 1 month, but I think after that I'm good. Yeah,
we'll see. I digress. I talked about it earlier today, so I'll spare everybody from talking about it again. All right, here's a fun question. I like asking this question. Who is your favorite team member?
If I get to explain,
No, you just pick one. It doesn't. You don't have to.
But I want to explain.
Oh, because you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I get it.
No. I think Richard is actually going to like this one. Okay. I'll pick Richard Crave. Because here's the dad joke. Okay. Because he's white, but he's from South Africa, right? And he's in America, so he's African American, right? So that's my dad joke.
All right, well,
I hope he likes it.
Richard, I don't think he's on, but yeah, that one's for you, my friend.
Maybe you see it later.
He gets the first vote for season 4 and the first vote in calendar year 2021.
You kidding me? The first vote?
Well, this is the first episode I've done.
Okay, so all right.
We had a little hiatus. Because they had the fireside chat last week, and then week before that was New Year's.
Yeah, I got
week before that was Christmas, and then week before that was the last time I was on. So it's actually, I can't believe it's been a month, but
it's been that long.
I should have worked on my dissertation. I regret that now. Oh well, there's still more time. Okay, so where do you get new ideas for your models?
That's easy. I get new ideas from the burns.
From
the burn.
The burn.
I see the burn. I'm like, oh no, I gotta tweak this thing.
I gotta do something.
I gotta tweak this thing, and then also, from like inspiration from all the different techniques that I learned in my machine learning course.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Do you check out Rocket Chat and the discussions there about different modeling techniques?
I have not, but I look at sometimes like I get emails from Medium or towards data science, and then see what people are saying about a few things to do, and then I try them before I implement them. Yeah.
Check out the Numerai forum as well. There's some good stuff there.
Okay, definitely. I'll check it out. Yeah.
A lot of good stuff around. It's just there's so it's hard to keep up with all of it. And if you're busy like I am, there's some really good ideas floating around lately, and I'm like, I just don't have time. I'm sorry. I better hope my models stay good. They have not. I'm getting wrecked, but I think it'll turn around. I'm hoping. What are you working on now in terms of the tournament? Is there anything new you're working on, willing to disclose?
Yeah. I'm just trying to do my own automation, make it easy. Because I have different models, but I tend to only submit I think maybe 4 or 3. So I'm trying to automate because there are different variations. Even and I'll give this one out. Even with callbacks, there's so many things that you can do with callback. So like no callback or callback, and and that actually changes those little tiny tweaks could
Absolutely.
actually change your whole performance. So I have them in different models that I need to automate so that come Saturday I just push the button and then it's just gonna submit it for me
What if I told you didn't even have to click the button? That there was this
at the time.
webhook in your settings that you could submit your models to AWS, and then the webhook triggers, and your models do what they do automatically every weekend, and you don't even have to think about it.
So yeah, I have compute on one of my
All right,
models,
okay.
but I need a little bit of control.
Okay,
I need,
if that's a
I need a
choice,
little,
then
yeah, need
just
a little
making
bit
sure.
of control. So yeah,
I understand.
yeah,
I do. I got you. All right, so this is something I want to ask because it's relevant to both of our audience. What advice would you give to someone who wants to become a data scientist? Like, think of a young adult in college, maybe, or somebody looking to do a career change. What advice would you give to someone who wants to become a data scientist?
call me.
Call me.
No, but seriously, you can, right even before you finish college, you can be on your way to PhD at MIT if you have the right mentor.
That's partially true.
Yeah.
Getting in is
Yeah,
the
well,
hard part,
that's a way.
but yeah.
So if you want to get into data science and which is very rewarding, if I knew then what I know now,
Right.
Focus on getting your Python in place. If you want to do R, make sure that you really got that language crisp, and then look out for courses that will get you to your goal, and then make sure you surround yourself with like-minded people that are also pursuing the same goal, and that makes it easy because
Right.
it's not a cakewalk, that's for
No.
sure. So you really need people, like you need a study group, you need people that will mentor you, and then whilst people are mentoring, you got to make sure that you're also mentoring somebody that is going to come along.
Yeah, I agree. Collaborative learning, mentorship, all those things are great. And actually, nobody's mentioned that before, but it's like foundational stuff. I completely agree.
Yeah.
So, if you could step into my shoes, what would
Yeah.
you ask yourself that I did not?
I know we talked in the past, like, oh man, when I get to the top of the tournament, I'm going to get an interview. It's not like that today at all.
No, there's a lot of people above me on the leaderboard right now.
Yeah, but so you're gonna ask, so when are you gonna get to the top of the tournament so we can have this interview again? Fingers crossed. After the burn, after the burn.
The hill climb begins when the burn ends.
Yes.
What if I told you you could climb the leaderboard during a burn?
Oh, well, because then everybody's getting burned more than you are.
That's okay, but that means you're giving alpha signal to the hedge fund. So, just
so the
burning
good
less
thing,
than everybody else is actually a good thing.
the good thing about Numerai is, the competition is not about, other people, it's about yourself. You're competing against yourself. You're competing against your best model the last time it was submitted. So that's what I'm really happy about. So hopefully, I will start climbing and we'll get to the top 50 very soon. Hopefully.
What's your best rank right now?
Oh man, I am way down there. I mean, I back in 2019, I've actually been top, like number one before.
Oh,
I think so.
Throwing down.
Down.
What's your main model? Like, what's your best model?
I have three. I have Galatians.
I've seen that up there before.
Ecclesiastes, and then I have dot kinesis. And I think last year, or late last year, I was at 50. But I've been 16. I've been like 17. I've been up. I've been 1. But it's my undoing is I tweak and put into production too quickly.
Well, my friend, you have 15 model spots. So rather than change your production model, just make it a whole new model.
I know.
15 spots.
Yeah.
By the way, I pulled your rank. _kinesis is rank 821.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now. But
And then you said it's Galatians.
I think I have one at 400 right now. I think is Ecclesiastes. No, Galatians. One of the Galatians is
How do you spell that?
Galatians. Galatians, I think E1 or something like that. I think is at 400.
I forget.
Yeah. But I'm coming. I'm excited because you see that my models are doing well on this submission.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's obviously very early, but we'll see. Yeah. Like my namesake model is rank 197. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. I think arbitrage 3 is 95. So at least it's top 100.
That's good. Yeah.
MMC 38, but yeah, of course, in the last 4 rounds, I have nothing but negative MMC. So.
Yeah, I really dropped. I mean, from last year, I was like really up there, but I'm coming back.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be tweaking again so crazily. So,
okay.
I mean, I have because I know I tweak a lot, I actually build an AI for my AI.
Well, yeah, to take you out of it, probably.
Exactly.
Let's take this human out of it because he keeps making too many changes.
Exactly. I built an AI for my AI, so I'm not going to be, tweaking so much.
Interesting. So that's what I have for you today. Thank you so much for coming on with me.
Oh,
I appreciate.
I really appreciate. Yeah, really appreciate the time and
I like your mission with what you're doing for African youth.
Yeah.
And, definitely keep us all looped in on that. So I've got a little bit of time left. I don't have any Slido questions.
Okay.
So I guess
I don't have any questions either on this side.
Well, it's a rare opportunity that you get because I figure that this is as good a time as any to introduce the segment called Flogging Michael Oliver.
Right there.
I don't know why people give Michael Oliver such a hard time.
Yeah,
he's a really nice guy. He's given us a lot of stuff to help improve our models. And I'm pretty sure a majority of us can attribute our performance, at least over the past half a year, to stuff that either Michael Oliver has kind of like, hey, you should consider this, or outright given us examples for. And so the trend of late to flog Michael Oliver, I'm not a big fan of, but I'm also one to kind of go with the crowd.
Yeah.
So Michael Oliver, thank you for coming on. But what the heck is going on with MMC? Why are we getting so horrendously wrecked when integration tests should be doing horrendously, but us who have decided to feature neutralize are just getting worked over the coals? What's going on in the matrix?
I mean, it's hard to say. Yeah, I mean, sometimes feature neutralization is going to help, and sometimes it's going to hurt. If the market's moving with linear features, feature neutralization is going to hurt.
You're going to take away the good. Yep.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Exactly what I was saying, but straight from Michael Oliver instead. So independent verification. I like it. One of the things that I saw some pushback on in the fireside, at least, was the lack of source code, but I endorse your response that you gave in Rocket Chat. We don't need the exact code, the hyperparameters, the job lib files, just the framework. So I agree with you on that, but most people don't see that in Rocket Chat because that goes pretty quick and that's now disappeared. Do you want to say anything about that and your feeling on not giving out replication code?
Yeah, I mean, people are trying to make arguments for why they wanted the actual code. I didn't find their arguments particularly compelling. It just sounded like people wanted to bet on other people's models, which we don't really want to encourage. And basically basically they're saying they wanted building blocks, and I'm like, we already giving you the building blocks that you need, and people are using them and have been like using them. So yeah, I thought people had what they wanted. Maybe some people aren't aware that some of these things exist, but yeah, and as I said, there are a few models that I haven't released code for, mostly just because I don't think they're that good, or they're just slots that I'm just using for experimenting with stuff. But there is more stuff to come. But yeah,
no doubt.
Yeah,
it's an evolutionary process. You know, we're all learning things as we go too.
I think what he just said is an example of why people like to flog him a little bit, is because people go, what about this? What about this?
Yeah.
And Michael Oliver does not finesse the answer. He just like, nope.
Well, I don't think he owes everybody a long 30-minute diatribe as
So
to
he
why,
shuts some
but-
things down like quickly, and they're like, oh.
Well, he's got important work to do.
Also, I
gotta give him
think there's
credit.
a little bit of undercurrent when it's not the source code. People don't actually necessarily always believe that what the model is what it's supposed to be, and I think it's just a little bit of paranoia there. But
Oh, no doubt. Yeah, I think you touched on that pretty good, William.
I'm fine with the way he does things as well. But
How about CRAT? CRAT, we have been waiting on CRAT for some time because I sure would like to know how to build orthogonal models.
Yeah, so I have a notebook that is basically ready to release, and we kind of wanted to, we're talking about that internally for various reasons. It's yeah, maybe I could just put some of the penalties and some of the other things up. I mean, it's tricky. Like that model in particular is like somewhat finicky, and like just balancing all the different parts of the cost functions took a long time to get kind of right. And so it's a bit tricky to use and sort of build from. And so, yeah, I mean, and in some ways, the feature reversing noise stuff seems to, that seemed to be pretty robust, and I released that like within a week of me actually thinking of it and trying it out because it was just pretty easy to get going. And it seems to be helping people who've been using it. So yeah, I like things that are a little easier. I like to release things when they're kind of easy for people to build from, rather than just like this kind of nest of code that's hard to work with.
No, I respect that. I think that was, for me, I'm the most curious how that model's built, because the thinking of it is very, very interesting. When you mentioned it months ago, I was like, wow, that's really cool. I would love to see how that is implemented in general, not a source code level thing.
Yeah, it's fairly, to make things orthogonal, I mean, you can basically just add to your cost function a penalty on how correlated things are. So you just compute the correlation of the outputs and then have a penalty on how correlated they are. And you can do similar things for the scores. You can basically have in your loop, in your training loop, get these scores for each era, and then you can have a penalty on the scores of and how orthogonal the scores are across eras. So because yes, it can happen that even if your models are giving relatively orthogonal output, their scores can be really correlated, and you don't really want that either. And so yeah, I actually penalize both those things in that model. But yeah, getting it's a little tricky, because like some things you have to compute thing over all the eras,
right?
And some things it's yeah, like if you're like had sharp as a cost function, you have to compute that over a bunch of eras, for instance. So it's not super easy to get going, but it's not. I mean, it's auto differentiation makes these things remarkably easy. That's what is amazing to me. So like every time I am able to just write something, and then just it's able to like calculate gradients with respect to these crazy things and have it just work. It blows my mind.
Yeah, it's wonderful when it works.
Yeah, I mean, I started training neural nets and stuff back in the days when you had to actually like derive your own gradients, and then like check make sure it was right. And sometimes things would work with it even if there were bugs, so it's hard to
Yikes.
It's tricky. So that just having auto differentiation allows you to focus on the creative part, which is a lot more fun.
Cool. So any more beating up Michael Oliver? Anybody else want to beat him up? There really isn't anything to beat him up on.
No,
I just say that in jest.
I like the guy. I think
He's a great guy.
yeah, starting Numerai. I think I asked him a few questions actually before. I used to bug him a little bit. I think if I go back to my my chat, I'll see my questions like, hey. And I think he was very helpful back then.
I met him in person. He's a cool guy. So I can vouch for him.
Even better.
I can vouch for him. And then hopefully someday soon we'll have another Erasure Con. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll get there.
That was fun.
JRB says handwriting gradient functions was a pain. So he apparently agrees with that. All right. Well, weren't any Slido questions, so I just wanted to buy a little bit more time. And I thought picking on Michael Oliver was a pretty good idea. But really, like I said, there isn't any picking on Michael Oliver. I just wanted to give my support to the man who's been helping us immensely with our modeling, even though, I really haven't had a whole lot of time to experiment with it. But just to say thank you, first off, Michael, for even though people seem to be hating on you lately, you're still trying to help us. So thank you very much. How about that?
It's a mutually beneficial relationship. I like to see what you guys do with ideas I put out there and expand on them and get them working in contexts. I was impressed by how quickly someone got the gradient reversing noise on working with XGBoost. I thought that was great. I had thought it'd work well, but I just didn't have a chance to try it. And I was within a couple days, someone already did it. So I was oh, this is great.
Yeah, Eric Rice. He's from South America. I think he's in Brazil. JRB says, also these days we miss those bugs and inject noise into our autograd gradients, he says. Yeah. So, well, I guess that's all I have for you all today. Thanks everybody for coming on. Doc Niesis, thanks for joining. Any final plug you want to give? You want to promote your YouTube one more time?
Yeah, sure. Check out my YouTube, Yo Men's Jobs. Share with your friends, mostly people of African descent, Africans. That's what I'm trying to kind of be a preacher to, put the word out there, mostly quantitative finance, because I think, and I didn't get to say this, I think in a very short time, Numerai might make a lot of billionaires,
Let's do it.
From 1 to maybe the top 100 people will be like billionaires, so want to try to get in there,
Have you looked at, Kaggle, the data science competitions? There's an African version of that, Zindi, I believe it's called.
Okay.
That's specifically focused on sort of African level problems. I was looking on there. There was a thing for data science for predicting, rainfall and stuff like that. So that might be an interesting thing to look at.
I'll definitely check it out. Yeah.
Cool stuff.
That's nice. Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, thanks again, everybody. That's Office Hours Season 4, Episode 1. That's a wrap. I'll see you in Rocket Chat, and I'll see you again when we do this next time. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you so much. All right.